Good evening and welcome to the Australian Stock Market Show. My quote for tonight is actually a song titled Santa Claus is Coming to Town. It was written by Fred Coots and Haven Gillespie, and I thought it appropriate given many of you would like to know whether Santa's coming to the stock market this year. So tonight, Dale and I, in our no BS approach to all things stock market, we're going to put your mind at ease as we share with you what we believe you can expect on the market this festive season. And we'll take a look at 3 stocks likely to be trading higher by the year's end. Hello, I'm Janine Cox, your host for tonight, and joining me is Dale Gillham, and we're Australia's most trusted stock market educators. Good evening and hello to you.
Ho, ho, ho.
Haha, that's very funny.
I tried to find my Santa hat, but my wife's packed it.
You used that excuse that you couldn't find it last year. You're not going to get away with it this year.
We're moving house, so she's packed it. So can I wear my cat's hat?
No.
Go Cats.
Well, we'll come up with something.
Anyway, before we get into our first segment for tonight, again, we're going to take some live calls on the show. So if you want to chat to Janine and I and ask us a question that's been on your mind, then this is your opportunity to pick up the phone and give us a call now. The number you need to call is 039290 09988. That's 03 for Melbourne, 92909988. And to get things started, the first person to call into the show right now will get a free copy of my latest book, Accelerate Your Wealth. Now, we're excited to be able to chat to you personally, so make sure you pick up your phone right now and get dialing.
While we wait for you to call, it is the first Tuesday in the month, and this means that we take a look at the Australian stock market. So let's get into the charts.
Alrighty, on the screen is the All Ordinaries Index, and it's not the chart I normally show, so I don't know which one it is. Monthly, well done.
It is the monthly chart. All right, so I thought we'd just put up a chart of the All Ords against the S&P 500, the US market, just to see how we're tracking with the US market, which is pretty close, wouldn't you say?
It looks like it's pretty close.
Although the US market's fallen more than ours in percentage terms.
Yep.
It's actually had a bit of a strong rally, and so we've seen our market following up. It's a bit of a copycat situation we've got at the moment, which is we've seen in recent years.
I know, doesn't it give you the poops?
I don't know about that.
It does.
Prunes might give you the
just seems
poops.
that, our big end of town are just watching what happens on the Dow or the S&P 500 at night and go, let's not put our brain in gear, let's just do that.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, seriously.
Seriously,
what do we
indeed.
pay them for?
Come on.
Anyway.
All right, now, so we've had a look at this just to see what's going on relative to the US market. Now, what I wanted to show also was the chart. It's a line chart of BHP, so I'm going to hide the chart of the S&P 500. Now, this is BHP. So BHP clearly is not at the moment driving any recovery. It's clearly driven by banks at the moment.
Yeah.
And so banks, energy stocks, bank stocks, they're our favourite stocks on the market.
Yeah.
And we're waiting, as we've said in previous shows, for the miners to turn around and start moving back up, because that's really what's going to cause the market to continue to drive higher. So we've got BHP and we've got CBA, and I've just put the market capitalisation of both of these. There's CBA.
Look at CBA, it's taken
CBA's just gone off like a rocket. Okay, so $180 billion company versus $193 billion as at today. So BHP's still the leader slightly. Wouldn't take much for BHP to just skip miles ahead of CBA, but CBA could keep going.
But you do like BHP, Rio and Fortescue anyway.
Oh, I do. I like the miners, but I just think that now is not the right time, as we've said in previous shows.
If they turn and the banks still keep going, the All Ords could go all over the place next year, couldn't it? It just could do really well next year.
Yep.
So this is looking good?
So this is looking good. So, I mean, obviously tonight we're going to be talking about the Santa rally and what that means for the market next year. But I just thought it was important just to show some of these big stocks and see, because if we think the banks are likely to keep going up, and they're stocks that are likely to be rising into the end of the year. But we're going to be talking about a few stocks tonight, obviously, that could be rising into the end of the year, but there might be a little bit of disagreement out there as to whether these, because they're not the sort of stocks that, one of them is the stock that we talk about all the time.
Yep.
And some of the others are ones that we haven't really talked about on the show, I don't think, for a long time, so I thought it's just worth having a look at them. So, yeah, that's really...
But I do think our markets given how strong it is right now, we just needed to break through that 7,000 point mark quite strongly, and it looks like we're going to do that. So,
Well, our market looks like it's done that. So, it's closed today, 7,169.50. So, I really want to see it get through this high here, which is more like 7,300. If it goes strongly through 7,200, we know that we're well on the way.
Well, I think Santa's warming up his sleigh, I reckon. That's what I think's going up. So that's it all for the All Odds for tonight?
Yep, that's it for our thoughts on the Australian stock market. Now it's time to get into our first email for the night.
Our first email question is from Rayo, I think is how you say that. Hi Dale, I'd like to know your thoughts on IEL. I am an investor in this stock for the medium term. I hope I've chosen the right stock during this uncertainty. Regards, Rayo.
Well, having a look at the chart of this one, it's actually moved up quite nicely. I'm just going to bring that monthly chart into a bigger, clearer picture. So we can see that last month we had this turnaround, and so far it's just holding its ground. But if it gets through that high there, we could see it trade up so anywhere between $32 and $36, couldn't it?
Oh, we can, but education is struggling. It's not a stock that I would have picked at this sort of time because we're struggling with immigration in terms of student numbers and all sorts of stuff.
Oh, you mean internationally education?
Yeah, internationally, we're struggling with students at the moment, So it's probably not one I would have picked, but I do agree with you. It does look all right, but it'd be interesting to hear why he actually
I thought you were saying we're struggling with students. I was just going to say that
we're doing really
staff
well.
would be saying, I don't think so.
No, we're doing really well with students. So but I'm talking about universities. I'm talking about TAFE colleges. I've
heard there's a lot applying to come back, but there's just not enough accommodation for them.
That's partly, because accommodation, rent's gone through the roof. There's not a lot of accommodation. I mean, nobody's in Melbourne. It's like a ghost town in the city every single day.
Well, you'd think there'd be heaps of accommodation there then. Where is everybody?
But it's not.
That's not what they're saying.
No, it's a bit tight. And as I said, the thing is they're still scared of being in Melbourne too. I mean, I'm being broad across education across Australia, but they're scared of being in Melbourne. And Melbourne and Sydney are the two major places that they go for education. Right. But I do like the stock, so I think it's a good choice. But I agree with you. I definitely agree with you.
And what size is it? It's just a small one, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, IDP Education is not huge, but it does. It's a broad company, but it's not small, so it's okay.
Yeah, okay, great.
All right, we have a caller on the line. Janine, welcome to the Australian Stock Market Show. You're on with Janine and Dale. Who have I got on the line?
Hi, my name is Yas.
Welcome to the show. Yes, it's your first call, I believe.
First call. I'm a Module 4 student.
Oh, fantastic. And you got a question for us?
Yeah, I noticed AMP, I think it's around that 126 level.
Yep.
I think everybody was sort of waiting for that level.
Yep.
I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Okay, what's exciting you about AMP though?
Just the fact that it's broken that long time resistance there.
Yep. And that's it. I'm sure you got more. If you're a Module 4 student, you should have a shed load more.
I do, but I don't want to give too much away.
No, I'm just teasing you. Yes, I'm just teasing you. So, are you looking to buy for the medium term or short term?
Medium to long term.
Awesome. Well, Janine's got it up, and I promise you she'll be gentle with you. Okay. Thanks for your call. Yes.
Thank you.
You know why I'm going to be gentle with you, yes, because it's actually one of my favourite stocks at the moment too. So I really like AMP, and I've been really pushing to argue for a case for this stock.
They should call it Mount Disappointment. It constantly disappoints this stock.
Yeah, that's right. So you're not the only one that's saying that on our committee, yeah.
So what's not disappointing about it? It looks great right now, doesn't it?
It does look great right now. It's gapped up. I mean, the problem is that AMP's got so much baggage.
It does.
But after following them, I could see there was a lot changing with AMP. But I know Yas is wanting to know what we see about the technicals, so rather than any fundamentals. So I'm just looking at this and thinking it's got a long way to go.
It's got a long way.
A long way to go. Obviously, it's just coming off a bottom. I could see, the share price getting to 150 or thereabouts. I just think that it looks good. The problem is that we don't know whether this is a nice trend that's going to continue. if this low here holds, if it doesn't take out that low again, then it should be good for medium long term.
So it could be gathering momentum. That's what you're telling us.
Yeah, but there's a gap up this week, which is disappointing. It's good from a point of view. It's got momentum in there, but it's disappointing from one perspective because you know that 9 times out of 10, depending on the stock, the gaps on the weekly chart are going to fill.
Yeah, I think my piece of advice is don't jump early on an AMP. Make sure you got it right, because how many times does it look really good?
Yeah, that's the point.
And then it goes. It's
a higher risk proposition. It's not like obviously a BHP or a Rio or ANZ, Westpac, Telstra. It's much higher risk, isn't it?
It reminds me of a bad mother-in-law. She talks nice to your face, but as soon as she walks away, she bites you in the bum.
But would you consider this high risk or medium?
Look, I'd say it's medium risk, but it's just one of those stocks that it just continually in the back of your mind going, is it going to follow through? Because the psychology on this stock is that it's constantly disappointed.
Yep.
And it'll do that until eventually it doesn't. And then, but getting that mass psychology behind a stock like this, because it should do better.
Yes.
And hopefully the end of its problems have been
I
passed.
hope so for AMP. All right, then, is that all we wanted to say on AMP?
I think we're done with AMP.
All right then, before we get into our next email, if you enjoy watching, and I forgot to say thank you, yes, for that email. If you enjoy watching our show, then hit that like button now. Our next email is from Jason. Hi Dale and Janine. I'm a current student and thoroughly enjoying your diploma course. My only regret is I should have started it earlier to gain some valuable market knowledge. I really enjoy listening to all of your podcasts each week. It makes gym workouts fly by. I'd like you to view Northern Star Resources. I purchased these on the 17th of October at $7.79 after completing my analysis. My plan is to hold for short to medium term. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this stock and keep up the great work and better jokes. Regards, Jason. Is that a bit of encouragement, Jason? Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Cool. So Northern Star, yep. Okay.
All right, there's Northern Star, and we've got a date there and the price there.
Yep.
Now, obviously he's seen this move up here. That week of the 7th of October, it's taken off and is looking quite good, and then it's subsequently got into it. But look, I mean, I think that it looks really interesting at the moment, but the problem with the gold stocks is determining whether they've bottomed yet or not.
I'm a bit surprised on that one. I mean, I'm not sure about his buy. I'm not really sure about his buy. I think it was probably a bit more of a...
It depends what his rules were for a start.
Yeah, that's what I'm struggling. I mean, obviously, I don't know what module he's on the course, whether he's on the first module or second module, because he doesn't say. I mean, whereas Yas,
true.
I'd say he would be taking a different position on this because where he is on the thing. But right now, it looks good. But I'm just a bit iffy on his entry. That's all I am.
Okay.
So, but other than that, I do like it. I think it looks really, really good. It's come off that major high of, what's that, 17 something? $17, yeah. $17, whatever it is. It's come down to around $7. I think it looks good. But I just think that's the only reservation I have. I think the entry for Jason might be a little bit early.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this. I mean, look, there's a bit of momentum behind it last week as it gapped up and then kept going. I mean, how many weeks do you think it could keep rising for?
Look, I think we're probably going to see another 2-3 weeks up, probably.
Okay.
Maybe, and then it'll come back a little bit. But that downward move will then tell us that longer term move.
So that's the one you'd prefer to see, is it?
Well, at the moment, I think, I'd prefer to see that because I want to make sure. Right now, the market's punishing anything going on the downside really fast.
Yeah.
And so this is where we can't just look at thing and go, well, it's up and it's triggered. The market psychology is not overly bullish. Like, remember back in 2003 to 2017, we could sneeze and still pick a stock going up,
Yeah.
I mean, we had 93% success rate for
when it was bullish before the GFC.
It was just like, tick a box, bang, it was going up.
Yep.
But the market was bullish, the psychology was bullish. Right now, the psychology is not bullish.
Yes.
It's still very apprehensive. There's still indecision there. So you see stocks bust out and then all of a sudden they just turn and go the other way.
True.
So you've got to be a little bit more careful, a little bit more selective. So I do like it. I think it looks great, but I just have that little reservation.
Okay.
That's all I've got. Just a
That's
tiny
very
little
good.
one. Is that okay?
That's fantastic.
All right. If you do want to give us a call, 929 099 88. But now we have a question from Michael who says, "Hi, Dale and Janine. You both are the best. Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. I always love to tune in and hear your thoughts on trading the markets. I emailed back on the 30th of August regarding Woodside, but had waited for a price to drop and purchased 65 more shares at $30.80 on the 30th of September 2022. I decided to sell all of my 97 shares today at $36.55 and take a 21% profit. After reaching similar peaks in 2019 and given the potential Western price cap on oil, my views on the market sentiment are bearish in the near to medium term. Hence, I decided to sell in strength in an uptrend. I plan to wait until the share price comes back down to around 30 mark, signalling a potential buy opportunity. I'd love to hear your thoughts on my early exit and the Woodside share price for the short to medium term. Thanks, Michael.
So what do you think about that $30 level that he's talking about?
I think he's guessing.
Do you?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, I think he is. I think he's just guessing at it.
You don't think it's a support level?
Oh, it could be, but it's just, I just think he's guessing at his entries and exit. So why would you sell in an uptrend?
So he wants to wait for it to come back to buy it again?
May never. It might go to $50.
But if it came back to that level, I'd be more worried about it continuing to fall.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. So I just think he's guessing, because there's no way known in hell, if I own this stock, that I would have been selling last Friday.
Yeah.
There's not a hope in hell, because it just shows you're just guessing at what it's going to do, because the golden rule of trading is let profits run. So don't jump out at 22% when you might make 30, 40, 50,
So what
60%.
you're saying is he hasn't got an exit rule. There's no confirmation.
No, he hasn't had a proper rule on it. He's just guessing, and he's worried about...
Good stock choice, though.
Great stock choice, and that's what gets me a bit fired up about. This is a brilliant stock.
Yeah.
So why would you exit a brilliant stock and go out of the market?
Well, I guess some of these oil-related stocks can spin on a dime. You were talking about that happening with stocks like
but this
AMP.
thing's done so well.
I mean, it has done so well and it's been in a nice uptrend, but, the Santos, Woodside, those type of stocks can just turn quick, can't they?
They can, but I mean, he's bought, he's made money out of this, and there's no doubt he's made money on it, but I don't think he's traded well.
Yeah, I mean, the long-term trend is now up, really.
Yeah,
if
it gets through $40, this thing could go up to $50, $60. And I think he may not get it back at $30. And if it does go there, I'd be worried, like you, I'd be worried about it going down to 25.
So I guess turn things on its head and think in reverse is what you're saying.
Absolutely, because this is a great look on stock. I have no problems with it.
Okay,
I love
fantastic. All right, our next email is from Lauren, or Laureen, is it Laureen?
Laureen, I think.
Hi, that's a really lovely name.
It is.
Hi, Janine and Dale. Fantastic show, especially the banter between you two. Please, could you suggest the best site to find the components of the ASX 20, ASX 50, ASX 100? I found a few, but they differ from each other, probably not in real time, up to date. I tried searching the ASX website, but had no luck. I thought this would have been the best place. Thank you, Laureen. Yeah, me too. I'm like you, Lorraine. However, there are some really good websites out there that do have that information. You just have to make a decision and trust one. But your broking website should also, if you've got a broker, they should actually be able to tell you that information as well. The S&P website is the best one because that's the source of the information for the top 20, but I think you have to register and just put your email address in.
You can, but when if you do the top 20, they'll give you all the top 20.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at the top 200, they only list the top 20 of the top 200, and I'm not sure. But so this is where
Market Index. I actually like Market Index as well.
Yeah.
It's an Aussie company that.
But the ASX website is SHIT for retail investors, and I think it's disgusting that they've got a crap website. It's more geared for brokers and the institution rather than retail. And the S&P website is just freaking confusing. Every time I go there, I get lost. It's got great information, but you got to know what you're doing and how to pull it out and get to it. It's not simple, and I think we need simple websites. And, but I agree with you. Market Index, I think, is a better site for one of those ones as well. But you should be able to easily get it on the S&P 5 and S&P website.
So thank you very much for that question, Lorraine. And next, we have a caller on the line, everybody. Dale, it's exciting, isn't it?
I'm excited.
Caller.
I'm hanging on to my seat.
All right, welcome to the Australian Stock Market Show. You have Dale and Janine here. Who have I got on the line, please?
G'day, it's Guy Higgins here from the Hunter Valley.
Hello, Guy. Fantastic to have you on the show tonight. How are you?
Well, thanks.
That's good.
Windy.
Windy, a bit windy there, is it?
Too much
Oh,
curry.
yeah.
I don't think he meant that sort of windy.
Oh, okay.
Just don't laugh at his joke. That's not funny. Okay, Guy, what stock have you got for us tonight, and what's your question, please?
Yeah, Linus Rare Earths. I know that you talked about this a few times. It, to me, looks like an interesting stock. I'm wondering if we might be looking at a buy at the moment, potentially for the medium term. Interested to hear your thoughts at
All
this
right.
time.
Great. Good stock choice. All right, let's have a look. Thanks very much, Guy. Okay, there's Linus there. Looking lovely.
It is. It's looking lovely. It's like this nice sort of little pattern, isn't it, that it's got through here. It's sort of like a little bit of a distribution pattern, but it's not really coming down that much.
No, it hasn't really come off, has it?
I do think it's really,
holding.
really nice. I think, guys, he's on the money here.
Question is it a bit early?
It is a bit early. I think I would rather it see.
Depending on your
I need a
rules?
little bit more show of strength, but it's just drifting down. And this, like I was talking about a little while ago on the on my market report on the Monday, I think it was last week, just saying this is just the big end of town, just stopping buying a little bit, just to let it drift down, and they'd just be accumulating through it, trying to get lower prices to average their prices down. That's why they talk about dollar cost averaging a lot. But we can just sit out and wait for it to start to move up, and I think that's a really good point. Right now, I think this could be a good buy coming up.
Well, look, I mean, I guess from my point of view, I'd be really interested to see how far it rises each time when it's risen. Because
a fair way.
Okay, so you've got 40% off this low here, and then the one from here, it actually rose up 30-odd% again. So if we put our cursor off here, we have a look. So there, that brings us up to the line, the angle of that line on that pattern that you talked about.
Yeah.
Or through it, because obviously that's going to be
The big question is, has it finished this sort of distribution consolidation area? That's
well,
the big
I don't
question.
think we'll know for some time.
We won't.
So, but for short term, it's likely to get up somewhere around that $10 mark, isn't it?
Yeah. I
All
like
right.
it. I like it.
Good question.
I like it
Good
very
stock
much.
choice. Interesting. And if it does get through that pattern like you're talking about, you think it could be long-term bullish?
Yep, absolutely. I do like it. Any more?
No, that's it.
Well, Janine, I think it's time we get into our topic for tonight. But before we do, I think it's time for everyone to give the show a really big thumbs up and show the team that they like and appreciate the work that goes into producing this show each and every week. So please click the like button now. It's just down below and it looks like a big thumbs up. So, but Janine, I've also got an important announcement. So now's the time for everybody to listen really, really carefully. You know how the other week I mentioned that we'll be launching Talking Wealth soon, or Talking Wealth TV soon? Well, we held up the launch for a few weeks to iron out some of our technical little bugs. However, I'm really pleased to say that Talking Wealth TV is now live.
Yay!
I know, we should have streamers and a big
a
party.
party hat.
It's live and there are over 120 interviews that Janine and I have done going up with the launch, and we've done those with trusted experts from around the world on the subjects of wealth and mindset. And we have well over 100 more to go up in the next few months. Now, these experts are hand-picked by Janine and I, not just because they're famous, or not because they're famous, or they're the best marketeers. In fact, that actually turns us away from them. We choose them simply because they are very good at what they do, and they're very credible people. So rather than just taking potluck on YouTube, you now have a great place to get really, really good education and information from the experts that you can trust. Now, check it out now. Well, not right this second, just wait until the show is finished and then go to talkingwealth.com. Now you can view it online or you can download the Talking Wealth app, which is available on Apple, also on the App Store and on the Android store. Roku will be a couple more days. I think it's the next week Roku will be available. It's on Amazon Fire as well and all the other ones. Any sort of app that you can download for TV, it'll be on. But you can watch great content anytime, anywhere. And by the way, Janine, if you register, not you, you can enter for the chance to win $50,000. So check out talkingwealth.com. Now, for tonight's topic, as Janine mentioned, it is all about whether investors can expect a Santa rally on the Australian stock market this festive season. Now, if the $50,000 did not get you going, a Santa rally ought to create some excitement, Janine.
I could not agree more. Investors have been patiently waiting and hoping to see some relief in the market and a sign that next year will be a better year for growth. And we'll share our thoughts on what a Santa rally is all about, the probability of a rally occurring this year based on the market's past performance, and also whether it is a reliable indicator of the market's movements in the year ahead in 2023. Now, Dale, before we get into the juicy part of the show, you'll be pleased to know that there were mixed votes for my joke last week, and some of our viewers are not as tough as you. So it looks like I get to give it another go.
Oh.
However, I've decided to give you a break from my humour for a week, so now there's no joke this week.
What a relief
You're
that is.
disappointed?
After last week's show, when I saw you run to your desk and read the comments, so you could read the comments, I was thinking you'd have that seal of approval and the ammunition to immediately seek out your next joke and have it ready to go for us this week. But at least you're only going to disappoint about 50% of the viewers who enjoy laughing at your jokes. Okay? Would you like to share on the topic, or what would you like to share on the topic for tonight? So I'm going to let you kick it off.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. Now, Dale, I'm only giving you 1 week off from hearing my jokes, given the votes, and I'll be back with more. Okay, let's get into a basic definition of a Santa rally that I found on Wikipedia, which states a Santa rally is a calendar effect that involves a rise in stock prices during the last 5 trading days in December and the first 2 trading days in the following January, so in the new year. But just how reliable is it, and is it a phenomenon of the past?
Now, there are differing opinions on this, Janine. However, as we always say, the data does not lie. Now, you will find that people in the financial industry will try and grab a headline in the coming weeks. But remember, to be an observer, don't get caught up in the emotions of what is said about a Santa rally. A good saying to remember is never trade on speculation, only ever trade on confirmation. This is one of the first things that we teach our students. And it's so important that if you want to be successful over the longer term.
Great advice. You're the oracle tonight, aren't you?
Always.
Firstly, let's have a look at what has occurred over the past 15 years. How big have the rallies been, and what does the data indicate about the probability of another Santa rally this year, as well as other observations that may be important?
Okay, so what have you got to share?
All right then. I've put a little spreadsheet together showing what the market did during the so-called days of the Santa rally each year for the past 15 years.
Okay, you have me interested, so let's go and have a look at it.
Okay then. So on the screen there, you can see this is a graph. I mean a spreadsheet of the All Ordinaries Index.
I like the red and green Santa.
That's the colours, isn't it beautiful?
Jingle bells, jingle bells.
So cute, isn't it?
Batman smells and Robin ran away.
Yes, right.
Okay.
Now, can we get into something more serious now?
I thought that
Have you
was serious.
finished?
Okay, I'm fine.
Okay. Now we have 2008. So from January 2008 to the end of that calendar year, we saw a fall of 43%. I think it's important to really look at what each year has done first to set the scene. So we've seen on our market a decline of 43% in that first year.
That was GFC?
That was GFC. 2009,
Coming out of GFC?
a rebound, 33% rise, but then really mixed results for the following 2 years. And we had the tsunami in 2011.
That was terrible time.
But then the market started to recover. 2012 and 13 were better years, so 2 good years in a row. 2014 was flat. 2015 it was down slightly.
Flat, yeah.
And then 2 good years again, 2016-17, 2018 down, and then a big year in 2019. So that was a really double-digit year, really good. And then a flat year in 2020, followed by reasonable growth in 2021. But this year so far, down almost 8%.
Yeah.
So what does all that mean? Well, it means that we've, over 15 years, 9 years were positive, 60% of years were positive years on the stock market. That surprised you, didn't it?
It does, because normally I would have pegged it closer to 70%.
Okay.
Over the longer term it is.
Now let's go through. Let's go through and have a look. But see, we've been struck by the GFC. Then we got
COVID.
hit by the tsunami. Then we've had COVID. Then we've had this pullback, recent pullback as well. So now let's go and have a look. What I've done now is I've said, okay, the last 5. The Santa rally is all about the last 5 trading days in December. Okay. So and the first 2 days in the new year. So what we're saying is that If it rises 1.3%, that means that it's a Santa rally.
Okay.
So I'm not going to show the results just yet. I'm just giving everyone a little bit of a prelude as to what we're going to talk about in a minute.
All right, okay, so Janine.
So, yep.
Janine, if a Santa rally does occur, what's going to happen?
So if a Santa rally occurs, what's going to happen? Well, the market's got to rise if a Santa rally occurs.
Okay.
But what does it indicate?
What does it indicate about the direction of the market in next year? That's sort of what I was
That's really
asking.
what people argue. So you see all these headlines, don't you, about that? Well, we did have a Santa rally last year, and the theory says that if a Santa rally occurs, that the market has a higher probability of rising the following year.
Okay. So as we always say, don't ever believe what anyone tells you about the market. Now, my mantra, and I know you know it, is trust nothing, test everything. That's what we teach our students. And this means get the knowledge so you can test it properly for yourself. And as I mentioned last week, that when we're teaching people to trade, we count ourselves in that mantra, as we advise not to just trust what we say. Apply what we're teaching everybody and prove it to yourself. That way you know that you know, and you can prove it to yourself that you have the knowledge and you're able to trade really, really well.
Well, that's one of the awesome things about what we do, and this is exactly what we have done for you with the data on Santa rallies and checking what the market has done in the year that followed. So let's go back to the spreadsheet now and have a look. So as I said before...
Okay, so what does it show?
It shows that we had rises in some years and obviously falls in others, but there weren't many in terms of...
after the market's risen 1.3% in that 5 days.
Yeah, so this is the five days prior to the end of December,
and then
plus
it's risen,
2 days into January.
2 days, and then it's risen
7
in the
trading
next year.
days, right? So what we're trying to prove is whether the Santa rally is a prelude to a bullish market the following year.
Okay.
And how often do we see Santa rallies according to the definition? So the Santa rally's definition is 1.3%.
Yeah, who came
rise,
up with that?
Right? Oh, this was research that was done in the 30s or 50s. They looked at the market rising over that period. So is it relevant now? So we're seeing here that we had a lot of Santa rallies initially from 2008 to 2010. We saw another 2 in 2013, 2014. You can see the percentages are above 1.3. And I'm showing you the detail because I don't want to just show them the results. I want to show them this is the actual. So in 2016, 2017, it was above 1.3.
Yeah.
And then in 2019, so this is end of 2018, coming into early 2019, it rose 2.18%.
Yeah. So
end of 2019, coming into January 2020, it fell 0.99. And now this is where we're at the moment. This is where it was at the start of 2022, right? 2021, coming into January 2022, it said, according to what some people have said in the media, we had a Santa rally, but we haven't had a bullish market in this year. So, so that's the challenge here, right?
Okay.
So what we looked at is there were actually 9 Santa rallies over that time.
Over 15 years.
Over that 15 years. But when you look back, there were only 5, we'll look at these, where it met the criteria and showed that the following year was actually bullish, right?
So 5 out of 15.
Yeah, so we saw more than 1.3% rise on the All Ords, and there was a bullish rise that year. More than 1.3% rise and a solid rise on the market. Okay, but there were only 5. Is the point.
So you're telling me a Santa rally is about as real as Santa is?
It's a total load of codswobble. Yeah.
Well, that's why they call it
in terms
the
of our
BS
market
Australian
anyway.
Stock market
So
show.
when you see people talking about this Santa rally, I'd say just pay no attention to it. I mean, the only thing it's good for, really, if you were trading really short term and you were just trading a few days on the market and you're looking to try to make money, to try to say that, okay, the probability is high for the market to be rising during that period is high.
That's misleading.
No, it's high. The probability, if you look at the number of rises, there were 9 rises over that time out of 15. So the probability is reasonable to think that the market could rise in that Santa rally period.
Right.
But what does it really mean, right, is the point?
That's not really much. Okay, Janine, something more important to talk about than the Santa rally, and that's those stocks.
I was just getting passionate about it.
Okay, well, we need the stocks next, and I know that everyone is waiting to hear about the stocks, so sorry to cut you short, because you've chosen some awesome stocks, so let's get into what you're going to share tonight, okay? I've got to keep you on the move.
Okay, well done. Glad that you asked. Now, as the current view is that the market is likely to drift higher this year, These three stocks are likely to be moving up.
Okay.
Now,
So you're talking about blue chip stocks, aren't you?
I'm talking about what you could class as blue chip stocks, but some of them might be out of favour at the moment.
Okay, well, I
In
know
fact,
you too.
all of them are.
Hey, I seriously know you well, so let's just get into the charts.
Okay. All right. Now, I had a list of about 20 stocks that I thought could easily be trading higher by the end of the year. Now, these are not necessarily my favourite stocks,
Okay.
but they're stocks I think that should be rising. So Xero is one. This
like
is
it.
actually one of my favourite stocks, and I think it could be rising into the end of the year.
I do too.
We can see here it's just been held back for so long now. If the market does kick up, this is going to be one of the stocks that could actually get a bit of wind under it. And, you know, I don't know whether it'll break the $100 mark by the end of the year, but I think it'll be pushing back up around that.
Yeah, well, I was picking that one. I was not surprised that you picked that one because I was telling people about that one yesterday in my market report that I thought it would be one of the ones to watch
Oh, really?
out of the tech stocks.
So you didn't take it from my list?
No, I did it first.
Okay.
Mine was out yesterday.
Okay. I didn't watch it.
Well,
All right, there we go. Now, Harvey Norman. Now, you might think it's odd, okay, we've got higher interest rates at the moment. Will that affect consumers? We've seen that potentially factored in. Remember that the market factors things in 6 to 12 months in advance. Does that mean that Harvey Norman could fall further? It could, right?
could.
So there's a risk. But will it be trading higher into the year's end? Potentially. How much money do we make from Christmas time?
Lots.
Well, in Victoria, 50% of our revenue comes from retail. What's going to happen this year? Do you think there'll be a lot of pessimism? Or at the moment, they're saying that things haven't settled down and inflation numbers are moving up because of what's going on.
they are. Inflation is moving up. I mean, obviously, interest rates went up 25 basis points today, or 0.25% today. I still think there's at least one, maybe two more interest rate rises. So we might finish off the year in December with our interest rate rise and possibly into January. But I think after that, it'll even out.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, I don't think we'll see any more because I don't think the Reserve Board meets. It doesn't until February now.
Actually, it might not. I hadn't
So
thought
get
about
your
that.
facts right.
Get my facts right. Okay. Sorry.
You were just getting excited, weren't you, by the fact
Well, I
that we're
don't
looking
think
at
they're
these?
finished. They're not at their target level yet, and that's the thing. Is what I'm thinking. Even though they're thinking that they're looking for interest rates for borrowers to be around that 7% 6.5% to 7.5%, somewhere in that band.
Now,
to try and slow
what's
the economy
amazing
down.
really is when you think about it, that's where things were in the peak of the GFC.
Yeah, correct.
And yet we're not there by any means.
No.
We're not there. Maybe, okay, you can look at it from an inflation point of view, but are things euphoric? No.
No,
Far
but I
from
think
it.
Harvey Norman is one of those stocks I think
Yeah.
will do well over the coming year or so.
But if it falls below here, then I would be concerned about it. But all I'm saying at the moment is it's one that could be rising in the short term into that end of the year.
Okay, so you've got another one.
Lend Lease, and I try to pick different stocks, ones that could be down that might, come back at some point,
And
rather
this is
than
down
talking
heavily.
about the same stocks every single time. I talk about my favourite shares, which most of them are in the top 50. Now, Lend Lease, look, this is huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at this, if we put a trend line down here, let's see, I'm not sure where I'll need to draw this from just yet, but I mean, it's down below this long-term trend line. Do I think it could rise up to the angle of that line or head towards it? Yes, I do. I think it'll probably start rising up slowly if the rest of the market starts to move up. But that's what we've got to see. This market move that we're seeing right now is being driven by the US
It is.
movements. So if it's sustainable, I think there'll be a lot more stocks that will make that move. I'm just not 100% sure at the moment, given that the miners still haven't turned around, and that's what Dale and I were talking about before. So we don't know whether this is a turning point or a bit of a flash in the pan, but gee, the banks look pretty good at the moment, don't they?
Oh, they do, and I still think, and I know this time last year we were saying that our market would outperform the US market this year, and it has. Even though we're down less than the Dow and the S&P. So,
Well, they're actually they've raced ahead this week,
yeah,
so there's
this
some
week
really
they
strong
have,
moves.
So they have some good strong moves, and I still think our market will outperform the US market next year because, I mean, GDP is up in the US at the moment, which is, it's not slowing, but so they're going to keep raising interest rates to slow their economy down. So, but I think we're well poised for next year. I really do, and I do like Lend Lease, and there's a few stocks that I actually like. So how did you narrow it down to just to these few?
Well, look, I mean, I always like to look in the top 100 and pick a few stocks that are outside the box. So stocks that not necessarily, not the banks, not the big miners, not stocks that we've talked about every week on the show. I just went for some that, one in each of 3 different areas. So Lendlease was a tough one, but Amcor came up on the list as well, was another interesting one.
Yeah, I did like that one.
That one we looked at and it had actually held up really well despite the rest of the market pulling back. So if the US market takes off, you'd think that Amcor will go as well. But only time will tell with that one.
All right, well, that's it for our topic for tonight. Now, before we do get into our next email, given you're at this point in the show and you're actually still watching us, that says a lot about you. Now, it means that what we're doing, or you do like what we're doing, so make sure you hit that like button now. That means the big thumbs up. Now, I do hope you have your phone ready and have been patiently waiting for the opportunity to call into the show and ask Janine and I your most burning questions. Now it's time to get dialing. The number you need to call is 0392909988. That's 03 for Melbourne, 92909988. Janine gets super excited when you call her, so get dialing now.
While you call us, we will get into answering the next question, so call now. Our next email is from Andrew. Hello, Dale and Janine. I've bought into Accent Group this week. It looks like it's formed a bottom to me and is starting to rise. How does it look to you two? Thanks, Andrew. All right,
okay,
let's have a look. It looks interesting to me. I think potentially quite a cute little choice. My only issue reservation would be is if it starts trading back down below $1.40. I'd just be watching that carefully, that it doesn't then just turn and go the other way. But it looks nice, doesn't it, at the moment?
It does look nice, and it's quite a volatile type of stock if you look over here. I mean, obviously it does move very, very well when it does actually move. Oop, I just hit the wrong spot there, but even look at that, there's 300% through to that one, but it does fall quite heavily. So, but it does look like a bottoming pattern, doesn't it?
Look at the volume dropping off though.
That was my next comment. I was just saying it's the volume's not really increasing on this move, so I'm not sure how long it's going to be supported from there. And obviously we had this big move up and a big reversal through here at $1.80 to come right back down, but I don't discount it. If you've got some good rules, I don't mind it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it gets through this high here. I'd just be watching as it sort of heads up towards that zone.
Yeah, I would be too. But anything else you want to say on it?
No, I think it's an interesting little stock, and even if it does turn around and fall away, it could be one to watch in future.
Yeah, because some of those stocks will base for a while, won't they? They'll just go up and down over a sideways period, over a period of a year or two. So, but just be careful you're making sure you're getting into a medium to longer term trend.
Yeah, thank you for your email. And our next email is from Himul, is it? Hey, Dale and Janine. Hopefully I've pronounced that correctly. My stock today is Bubs Australia. I have a small position that I took when the stock was up at around 60 cents. This is medium term for me and I see it dropping since then. Don't understand why it keeps dropping on a good day. Also, it is not good that it's making revenue in US dollars with the Aussie dollar falling down. It's better. With all the news of it expanding its business in the US and China, I'm really counting on Bubs to give me a return on investment. Would love to get your thoughts on it, please. Regards, Himul. Okay, thank you very much for that question. Really interesting.
Bad news, isn't it?
Yeah, really interesting stock, but just doesn't look like it's still going anywhere, does it?
I have no idea why I bought it at 60 cents, but obviously. But isn't it? It's a really interesting thing when you're seeing this good news. It entices some investors into it, but we're not talking, when people see that, they should be going up, and he's very right, it should be going up with all of that stuff, but it just shows you that the big end of town, they're working 1 and 2 years out. They've already bought and they're selling into this move, I'd say.
It just looks like it could keep going too.
I don't think he's going to get a return on investment in a long time on this one.
No,
I really don't. I think Hemel, you're out of luck on this one, and really, I think you need to get some better rules for buying. Because at the moment, all I can see at the moment, look at this this is this week. We've only got 2 days into this week. That's a massive, massive move on this stock.
I guess one of the lessons here is if a stock's trading below $1, really think twice about whether you ought to invest in it is the first thing. I'd say, and then just like Dale's doing, check to see what the volatility is of the share price during any week to see whether you can stomach that.
Oh, sorry.
So it's just unfortunate.
If we look at the moment, he's down somewhere around about 40%. That's really heartbreaking for somebody to be down that kind of money. And this shows you why you need to have stop losses and that. So my biggest tip for you, get my book. My first book is still for free. You just got to pay the shipping. It's on the homepage of the website, up right at the top. You click on the button, pay I think $9 for the shipping and handling, and then you get the book. It'll show you how you're not going to get stuck in stocks like this and actually manage a little bit better. So please get on the website and do that. But Janine, we've now got another caller on the line. Welcome to the Australian Stock Market Show. You're on with Janine and Dale. Who have I got on the line?
Hi, it's Tina here. How you going?
Welcome to the show, Tina. It's lovely to hear your voice. Have you got a question for us?
Likewise. Yes, first of all, I just want to say thank you for your shows. They've been very educational, and I've read your book.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm on it. So I just wanted to ask about CXO.
Yep.
I bought CXO a while back now at 27 cents.
Yep.
And it's now $1.40.
Seriously, I'm going to employ you.
You can
That's pretty
retire
good.
now.
Wow. It's done really well, and I know that you're supposed to take your profits, but I've got a large mortgage at the moment, and with all these interest rates going up, I think to myself, should I be exiting this stock? And when I look at it, I just can't see an exit. It says to me that it's just going to keep growing. And given that it's lithium and that it's Northern Territory and that it's, they're getting a lot of funding up there, I just want to know what your thoughts are. Should I be, given that there's been 6 interest rate rises, should I be taking it off the market and, investing in my mortgage kind of thing, or should I wait? Should I hold out?
Well, I'm always going to say that it's always a good idea to reduce negative debt. And I call a house mortgage a negative debt, or the interest you're paying on it, you can't claim it on tax. It's always good to reduce that. But then obviously have a tax structure, have a line of credit on that to go out there and buy more shares so that you can pay off your mortgage faster. So I think it's a good strategy to have a look at. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just saying start looking at that sort of stuff. So I wouldn't have a problem with you, in theory, when there's an exit on this stock to exit the stock and then put it off your mortgage. So I wouldn't have an issue with that. I think that's a smart idea. But again, you need to learn what you're doing and then check it out. But Janine's got the stock up and she'll tell you what she thinks of the stock. But thank you very much for ringing into the show. Janine.
All right. Great stock choice and fantastic. Well done.
Well done, isn't it?
Yeah. So looking at this one, I mean, it's got a lot of resistance, hasn't it, around that those highs there now.
Yeah.
So it's really a question about whether it's going to break through that or not. It might hit its head there again. Even if it does, it might only go a little way above that, but who's to know? I mean,
well, one thing I didn't ask is how much she's got in
stocks.
it. I mean, if she put $1,000 in it, she might have $5,000 or $10,000 now. But that's
see,
still a
look,
good knock
that's
off
not
your
really
mortgage.
the point. Yeah, like, you know, you and I always talk about the fact that it's all relative, isn't it, to the person?
It is.
So, I mean, the fact that she's had that money there, she's got a capital and a profit on top of that. I mean,
that's great.
There's been rules to get out, plenty of rules to exit.
There's been plenty of rules to get out in this whole mess since over in that sort of period, which is, earlier this year. So she's ridden these big waves.
It's really a question of when people get into stocks, knowing how they're going to get out of them, isn't
Correct.
it?
Yeah, and this is where she's got some rules from my book. I mean, a drop of 50%, that's big enough for me to get out of it. And then another, a rise of 105%. So, and then another fall. So really, there's been plenty of ways to get out of it. So right now it's moving up, so stay with it. But I would have a nice tight exit strategy. If it does get stuck around this, I think I'd probably be looking at exiting around that sort of level. I
mean, I'd even go further than that to say, for me, it's about comfort as well, given there have been exits before, the price, where the price is trading at now. I mean, she has to do what she's comfortable doing, but I'd be wanting to take money off the table because I'm a bit more conservative than that.
Well, you are. I mean, as I said, but there's not too much difference between where it is now and those highs that we see on the chart. So to me, that's where I'm sitting. I'd say stay with it while it's going up and then look to exit from there. But again, there's a price point at which the market won't pay further for it, regardless of what's happening in the economy with lithium and everything else. There's a price point. It's just too expensive. So therefore, is it that point at where those tops are? And that's what we've got to see. If it doesn't get through it the next time, it's probably got to come off a little bit further. But right now, I think she's done a good job.
She has done a great job.
Cool. Well, if you do want to call us and have a chat to us, remember 92909988. Pick up your phone now and give us a call. And I know Janine would love to chat with you. But our next email is from somebody called Lloyd, who says, "Hi Dale and Janine, could you have a look at ResMed? Had a pullback after announcing results last week. I bought in at $32.06 on the 17th of July 2022. So not more recently. I'm looking to hold medium to long term. Regards, Lloyd." What do you reckon?
Look, I mean, ResMed's been a dream stock historically, but it's easy to fall in love with the stock and then think it's going to repeat the past.
Oh, yeah.
And I just looked at this when I thought, well, it's going up, like it looked like it was going up here. And I mean, it is in a nice trend now. However, is it sort of really struggling here? It looks like it is at the moment to get through. So I'm just not convinced that it's going to rise. And if it falls back below this blue line that I've put here, which was probably the entry price, then I'd be just letting it go because I'd be more concerned about it falling further.
Interesting place to enter. I mean, obviously he's entered in on this rise up through here. But yeah, I just find it's interesting where people enter stocks. I really do. I mean, obviously he's making money at the moment, which is nice. But I'm with you. There's a lot of interesting.
Well, I see nothing wrong with where he's entered actually. Just because, you know, if you look at a lot of people are going to think the same thing. I mean, all they have to do is look at this and then put a trend line down the chart and see that there's an entry there. And so if they entered any time after that point where it crossed that line, then depending on what their rules were, that's probably around where that he's purchased.
Okay, cool.
So I don't have a problem with his entry, and the stock is in an uptrend and it's going up. So in theory, it should keep rising, but it's just like, look, it's had so many weeks trading in that same zone. If it goes above this high, I don't think he's got anything to be concerned about.
I would agree with that.
But if it starts heading back down towards $33, I'd be starting to get a little bit concerned about whether it's going to come back through his buy price.
Cool. All right, I'm happy with all of that.
All right, Dale, it looks like we have another caller on the line. You're welcome to the Australian Stock Market Show. You have Dale and Janine here. Who do I have on the line, please?
Hey guys, this is Joy from Hobart.
Joy, oh look, great to have you on the show tonight. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you very much. I've been watching you guys on the live stream and podcast and after shows. Haven't heard anyone from Hobart, so I thought might be the first caller to call on the Hobart line.
That's lovely, fantastic. No, I don't think we have either. Well, look, fantastic, and an interesting stock choice. What did you want to talk about tonight in particular?
I do have Nickel Industries, formerly known as Nickel Mines, on my watch list. It seems the stock do great. I think past quarter I was sitting around about roughly $1.20, and then really saw a downfall, especially going to the earnings season. I think now I see the stock possibly sitting at a good entry point. Would just love to get a bit of a thought of yours. I'm looking at holding this one. If I do enter, will be medium to long.
Okay, great. And look, in terms of your rules to buy it, have you got specific rules? What are you waiting for?
To be honest, I'm just new to this investing thing. To be honest, I won't lie that. This is all fairly new to me. I got lucky with all my coal shares, like Whitehaven Coal, New Hope Corporation. I really entered them at a good entry point. So I've just made some money out of it. Got out of that last week. Yep. Before the downfall, and looking to reinvest this money somewhere else.
Okay.
And I think I've been watching Nickel Industries, and I think it looks good, promising after the financial report.
Look, thank you so much for bringing into the show and bringing up such an interesting stock. We'll just get into the charts and tell you all about it. All right, Nickel Industries. Look, I think it's a good choice, isn't it?
Well, look, I don't know. I think it's got more downside.
Do you at the moment?
Yeah. I mean, I think...
It's trading at around 70, 80 cents at the moment, and it was trading at $1.80.
Yeah, but nothing's telling me it stopped falling at the moment, and things, unless you've got solid rules, your luck runs out, and you can guess all you like, but eventually your luck runs out, and when it does, you lose a lot.
So what would you wait for before?
I'd look, at the moment, you're seeing this is a 60-something% fall off its all-time high, so I think it's probably got further to fall, and I think, it's bounced at the moment for 2 days. And 2 days doesn't make a sheep station. It certainly doesn't mean a buy.
Well, I don't think he was saying a buy right now.
No, but he's looking at it. So I think, we might get a bit of a bounce. It could be something like this and then it turns around again. So if he's looking at medium term, I'd just be waiting. I'd be waiting for the first move sort of out. And if I use my trender, I'd be waiting for something like this to happen first before I would get into this stock. So I want to see that point there above that low before I get into it. Because I just think it's probably got more to go. It probably could even head down around that 60 cent mark. So,
yep. If he had have said he's a short-term trader, what would you have said then?
I would have asked. I would have asked what rules, because he doesn't have rules. He's in my mind. From what I'm hearing, he's just sort of guessing at it. And to me, if you keep guessing, you're going to guess wrong.
Yep.
The law of probability said if you guess right a few times, it gives you a bit more bravado to keep doing it, and then your luck's going to run out. So I think his luck will run out on this one at the moment. But
all right.
Hang on. It could turn around.
Dale's a bit more cautious on that one, but thank you very much for writing in about that one. We'll call it in.
Write in, he rang in.
That's right. Our next email is from Anthony. I was already thinking ahead to our friend Anthony here. Hi Dale and Janine, thanks very much for answering my email the other week about mineral resources. Your insights were greatly appreciated and have served me well so far. I was seeing if I could also gain your insight on Jervis Global. Similar to my interest in MIN, I am drawn to this stock from a fundamental point of view and would appreciate your expertise from a technical perspective, as my skills in this area are still developing. Many thanks, Anthony. All right.
What's the stock code again?
Good question.
I can't find it on here, Jervis. I got to bring it up. How do you spell it again? Gervio.
Vio. No, it's not coming up.
Hang on. Let me do it. You didn't put it in the list.
No, I didn't. I think it might have been the one that I couldn't find, actually.
No, I found it. It was JLJ something. JRV. That's it. I'm trying to remember. JRV. There you go. So
there you go.
That's not very good, is it, Janine, when you leave it out of the list?
Whoops.
Okay. All right. So what was the question again? So his question was... this is Anthony, isn't it? Yeah.
It's Anthony.
Yeah.
Now, look, I mean, that's on the other side of a big rise, isn't it? So it's a question of whether it's going to find support here. It's at a really important level. I'd say if it holds up where it is and starts turning back up, that's a good sign. But if it keeps moving down, it's more likely to take out that prior low.
Yeah, well, he's looking at it from a fundamental perspective. Obviously, he's done the fundamentals on it. So at the moment, we've had some big down bars. It's not looking super strong.
Well, the last couple of weeks, it's been a sell-off, so...
Yeah, I think it's probably got further downside at the moment in the short term at least.
Yeah, if it takes out this low here, which is, what's that price there, 45 cents, then I'd be really concerned about it. If it holds up, turns around and takes out last week's high, then I think it's going to go up.
A bit better, but yeah, so technically not looking super strong at the moment.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's move on. We do have an email now from Stephen who says, Hi Dale and Janine, I'm considering buying IPH for a medium to long-term trade, particularly after getting above the previous high on the 17th of September 2022 on the weekly. But with the all-time high back on the 21st of February 2022, I was interested in if you think the current trend is confirmed and do you see it continuing? Thanks for your advice. Cheers, Stephen.
Now, this is an interesting one because there's this huge gap here in price, which I'm not really sure about. I just went through and tried to check to see whether it would update. Yeah. But we've got these highs here, which are really curious to me. It's a huge resistance, but it seems to have kept pushing higher, which is a positive sign. So it could just shoot through.
It might just break through. So it's looking all right at the moment. I do like it. So he's looking for, what's he saying? It's medium to longer term. So is it medium to longer term in your view?
Well, it's not the sort of stock.
It's not that stock. They're very short periods of time, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it runs up for about a year or so, doesn't it? So, I mean, that's pretty good. But, given that it's gone up and down in a zigzag fashion, it's not really telling us a lot about the long-term trend yet. It could just shoot out of the blocks and provide a really nice opportunity.
I think my
long?
intention would be max 12 months on this stock. So it might be 3 to 12 months, something like that. That's probably about it.
Yeah, okay. I'd agree with you on that one.
All right, that's it.
All right, our next email is from Hamish. Hey Dale and Janine, thanks for taking a look at E25 for me a few weeks back. Could you please have a look at M7T for me? I entered the trade last Friday at 53.5 cents with a plan to hold until the chart tells me to sell as per my rules. Cheers, Hamish. Great to see that Hamish has got a set of rules there, Dale. You've got that there?
Oh, well, you've had a slack week this week, haven't you? You haven't put half the stocks in.
Yeah. Look, there we go. We've got the chart up.
Don't like it.
Max 7 Technologies, is it?
Don't like it.
M7T. So far, I think I agree with you, until it's a 60-cent stock or around
Why
about
would he
that.
enter it last week?
Oh, gosh. It's got to get through here before it even looks like it could be going up. That's
But that
63.
was last week, so he entered at 53.
Well, I'd rather wait to see it get through there now, and then if it's going through that level now and starts to move up strongly, then it could recover. But
I think
geez,
Hamish is a cowboy.
that's pretty risky.
Look, I don't like it at all. I think there's probably downside on that one, so I'm not really...
Yeah.
I'm not excited about it.
Okay.
Any more you
Look,
wanna
it
say?
may go sideways in the short term, but I think that the hope there for Hamish is to see this high taken out back at 63 cents. If it takes that out, you're fine. If it starts going back down below these lows at the bottom here, then like Dale's saying, he could be right. It could come back here and then keep falling.
I guarantee he didn't buy any rules, that's for sure. So I think I tidied up the rules. But that is it for our thoughts on M7T.
Well, you've been asking us questions, and each week we ask you for your thoughts. And last week we asked, if you had enough money to buy one more stock for your portfolio, which stock would you buy, Telstra or Woolworths, and why? 2 different stocks from 2 different industries. And thanks so much for all of your feedback. You're an awesome audience. And Dale, there are some fantastic comments again this week. Being a stickler for the process, I picked the first 2 comments below last week's video.
Okay, number 1 was from Kate, who said, thanks for tonight's excellent show, Janine and Dale. It's Janine's laughter at her own jokes paired with Dale's expressions that have us laughing here. Not sure about Janine's jokes, but thank you, Kate. Kate continued with, to answer your question, I would buy Telstra long term. It's looking like there will be some very exciting opportunities with this stock. Thanks very much for taking the time to comment. We really would have to agree with you there. Thumbs up from us for Kate. Well done.
Right. The second comment was from Calvin, who said, hi Dale and Janine, regarding your question on Telstra or Woolworths, I think neither is worth adding at the moment, but if I had to choose, I believe Woolworths would have triggered a sell on the monthly chart recently, if I'm reading Dale's book correctly. It also still looks to be declining, and I think Telstra would be the better stock if I had to choose one. It's going sideways, but it appears to at least have some support at its current price. I also have the advantage of watching the show on a Wednesday night, and Woolworths dropped 3% today. Great show again, guys. Thanks so much, Calvin. Great observations, Calvin, and we've not seen Woolworths look this bearish for some time. Further to your reference to Dale's book, great to see you trying to apply trend lines before sharing your view. Trend lines are a simple concept when applied correctly, and you are right, Woolworths has crossed below an uptrend line at some point, and perhaps you'd like to hear more about Woolworths or other retail-related stocks on a future show. Remember, stocks that are unloved now will at some point become opportunities again.
Oh, that is right, isn't it? Really much so. So if enough people let us know, we might cover retail stocks in a future show by, all you need to do is vote in the comment section below. So we may just do that if we want to cover retail stocks. So get typing, as we are looking for topic ideas for 2023. So the more you type, the more we're going to look at it.
So thank you so much to everyone who did comment last week. I really enjoyed reading your comments after the show, so keep them coming. And this week's question is rather exciting. Let's say you received an inheritance of $500,000. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? So you decided to set up a portfolio of shares and your investment horizon was long term. Now there are 2 questions to answer. The first is, how would you invest the money in the market? Now, this next question's an interesting one, and the answer needs to be based on your current level of knowledge. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident would you be investing the money? We look forward to hearing your thoughts, and I'll be racing back to my desk after the show to see your answers. We would love to hear from you all, so come on everyone, share your thoughts and get typing. If you're listening to us on a podcast, you can still send us an email with your answer. Before you do, give us a 5-star rating and review on whatever podcasting app you're using.
I'd be a 10. I'm confident, but nobody's going to give me $500,000. Remember to head over to talkingwealth.com and check out Talking Wealth TV and get your chance to win $50,000. Also remember, if you've enjoyed tonight's show, then give the team a really big thumbs up. That means click the like button underneath our video to let us know that you've enjoyed the show.
If you want us to answer your questions, then watch our show next Tuesday between 7 and 8 p.m. Pick up the phone and give us a call, as we would love to chat with you. If you're not able to watch live, you can email your question ahead of the show. You do this by sending your email to info@wealthwithin.com.au, and remember to include Wealth Within Live in that subject line.
Okay, we really do appreciate your support, and to show your support, you need to subscribe to our channel by hitting that subscribe button right now.
Well, that is it for tonight's show. We do hope you enjoyed what we presented tonight. We've so enjoyed receiving all of your emails and thank those who called into the show. We love the opportunity to chat with you personally.
As always, thank you for joining us, and we do hope you have a great week. But for now, goodbye, good luck and good trading.
Bye for now.